Now, like most of you, I go to potluck dinners with friends all the time, but I also make sure if I like something, I get the recipe. You know, I really find too many recipe books. You think the recipe sounds great, but they're too often badly written, and when you've made them, they're not good. So I really like relying on recipes from friends that I know work, and this is one of them. And so what we're going to start with is, I'm sure most of you that are parents have ramen noodles in the cupboard. I'm no different. My son loves them. I have no idea why, but kids seem to. So you take 2 packets of ramen noodles and then crush them, and then you bake them in the oven on a in a baking pan for about 20 minutes at 350. You don't cook them at all. All you're doing is breaking up the packet of ramen noodles and throwing it in the oven to bake for about 20 minutes, and they bake up nice and crispy, light golden brown. So remember, they don't go in the water at all you're doing is baking them in the oven, and then put them to one side. You also want to take some sesame seeds and toast them, 2 tablespoons. Now, I'm very lazy. I bought toasted sesame seeds at an Oriental market to make my life simpler. If you don't want the sesame seeds, don't use them. You know, you could use sunflower seeds instead. Get toasted sunflower seeds. They'd be just as nice. Not quite so Chinesey, but make your life simpler, because you can normally buy a small packet of that in with the chips and nuts in the supermarket. And then also the original recipe calls for 1/2 cup of almonds that you toast in the oven for about 10 minutes. Now, you need to toast the almonds, the sesame and the nuts totally separately in the oven in separate bowls, because they all brown up at different times. The almonds can brown in under 10 minutes. Ramen noodles really needed the 20 minutes. And I used almonds because I like them, but there's nothing to stop you buying salted peanuts, salted cashews, chopping those up and using them roughly. Just remember, if you use peanuts, you need to put a sign up saying peanuts, because they're one of the terrible allergy nuts, okay? So having crushed and cooked 2 packets of ramen noodles, and you want to buy the chicken flavored one, you then keep one of the seasoning packets, those little foil sachets, and just use one of them, because this is very salty otherwise. Use one of the flavoring packets, throw it in the mixing bowl, and then I'm going to put in with it 3 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons, again, white wine vinegar. There's nothing to stop you using cider vinegar, rice vinegar. Don't use the white vinegar. That's, as I said before, that's only for cleaning the windows. And red wine vinegar would make it probably a slightly strange colour. And then just stir it round. And using the vinegar should dissolve the ramen noodle flavouring packet and the sugar for you. You add no more salt whatsoever, because as you know, this is quite salty. And then to go with it, I'm going to add just 1/2 cup of oil. Now, you could use canola oil, vegetable oil, or olive oil, but the one that's the best flavour is peanut oil. Now, if you can just about see in the monitor, the peanut oil's got a lovely golden brown colour. You want to make sure you buy the one that says roasted peanut oil. That's the one with flavour. They do come out with a peanut oil that's totally clear, because the great thing about peanut oil is you can fry to a high temperature with it without it burning. But that's the same with the white coloured as well as the toasted, and it's the toasted that has the flavour. But the other important thing to remember is peanut oil is every bit as dangerous for people as ordinary peanuts. So again, you want to mark it up if you're using the peanut oil that it contains peanuts, because it's too dangerous. So just stir those together and leave them to one side while you finish the rest of it. And when you come to use it, you just stir it again, because as you know, those sort of dressings just break down. So put that to one side. And then this is a very small head of cabbage, as you can see, but it's this lovely light green coloured, very solid. And it's normally 1/2 a small head, but it really depends just how much you like and how much you like the dressing. I tend to cut them into 4. And you can see you've got the core here. So you want to cut that core out, because that's very tough. Here's number 4. Throw them away. Now, what you can do is you can either, another nasty looking bit, can't win sometimes when you go into them, that's why it's good to go through them. You can either cut each quarter into about 3 slices that way, and then finely shred it. Because remember, you're wanting to be eating this with a fork. If you leave it as a complete big cabbage, it's not enjoyable. You're chasing it around the plate. You can't get much on a fork, and you can't get the other ingredients that are in the recipe with it. So you can do it that way, or you can put the entire quarter in your food processor on the slicing blade. If you put it in on the grating blade, the shredding blade, you're going to end up with those tiny, tiny, tiny bits of cabbage that you get in the restaurants with commercial coleslaw, and that's just so mushy, it's horrible. This has a nice crunch to it. So I just find it far easier just to cut it in 2 or 3 slices and just roughly shred it that way. And of course, after that, you have to put it in water, give it a good swish round. In England, we always use salted water. We thought it made the bugs come out quicker. And you'd be surprised, you can get them right into the heart of the cabbage. And at least doing it this way, you know the cabbage is totally fresh and clean. So we're going to shred it all, we'll wash it, we'll drain it, and then we'll come back with the rest of the salad. Okay, so now the cabbage is washed and dried as well as you can. Either put it in a big towel and pat it dry, leave it to drain for long enough, or put it in one of those lettuce spinners. And then to go with it, I've got, if I'm doing it for us at home, then I do this fresh every night, because the ramen noodles and the nuts do go soggy if you leave them with dressing on. And quite honestly, I find, in my opinion, if coleslaw's left from one day to the next, I think it goes disgusting. So to mix it up fresh each day is fine. So I've added here 3 to 4 green onions. And just in case you're not sure, this is what a green onion looks like. It's also known in England as a spring onion or a scallion. It has the root end there that you want to cut off. So I'm going to get rid of that bit. Any bits like this that are looking a little bit dead, just pull those off. You wash it, of course, or not with soap and water, obviously. Rinse it under cold water and dry it. Because if you have any salad ingredients that are wet, then they dilute the salad, which you don't want. So you've got a nice clean looking one. And it's so easy just to snip it with your scissors. And you can buy really good scissors out there. You don't need the fancy kitchen shears. These are ordinary Fiskars ones that I buy. Let's put another bit of them in as well. Now the other thing to realize, these are very skinny green onions, as you can see. And that means that both the white and the green are quite a mild oniony taste. If you get the really fat green onions, the fatter they are, the stronger the onion taste is in the green stems as well as the white head. So if you don't like a very oniony green onion flavor, and I don't like raw onion at all, then make sure you try and get the really skinny green onions, which, you know, come the season, they're growing bigger and bigger, so it's not the easiest thing to do. So then I'd use just the green onion itself. Then we're going to throw in the ramen noodles, which I baked, and put in the toasted sesame seeds, which are toasted. And as I said, if you don't want the sesame seeds, then use sunflower seeds or anything like that. And then this is meant to be toasted almonds, but I saw nicely chopped, fresh, salted, roasted nuts. And make sure you get the roasted ones. If they're not roasted, they're really quite boring. And of course, you know, in the stores you can buy the containers of the mixed nuts, the peanuts, the cashews, whatever you like that way. So just stir those together. And I love this because even though normally the ramen noodles flavoring packet, I won't let my son use it because it is so high in salt. For this, it makes a really good dressing, and the cabbage needs a real strong flavor to go with it. And when you do it with the nuts and everything else, it's just so good, and people love it. And think of serving it with grilled meats on top of it. Get some teriyaki type meats on top of it. You can do ordinary cold cuts, whatever you like, but it is superb. But remember what I said, unless you're doing it for a party where you'd mix everything together, keep your nuts, your ramen noodles and your sesame seeds in separate Tupperwares and only add them as you're making it, and the same as only add the dressing when you're making it. So we'll plate it up and you can see what it looks like in a few moments, okay?